Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Thursday, August 18th, 2022. My camera is just getting used to me. So this is a brand new camera. We are going through the usual technical challenges. Good times. Anyway, while I'm getting everything set up, please check in, say hi. How's it going? I've had an interesting day. Woke up this morning with no AC. Good times. And so that's where we are right now. And it looks like my video has frozen. Oh, this thing. Here we go. There we go. We're back. All right. So this has been quite the day. So no AC. So I had to get a technician out here. The technician said it's beyond hope. So looks like we're getting new furnace and air conditioning. Yay! One of those things you really want to be spending money on. Today, we're going to be talking about Shopify's new branding section. And they just added this fairly recently. So it'll be an interesting little talk. I went through it kind of fairly in depth earlier today. So I walked through on my own kind of how it all works. We've used it to set up a couple shops. It's still kind of hit or miss with its implementation in terms of who is actually, or I guess I should say, what is actually using it right now. Hey, Cadets Toys just launched a brand new website today. It looks great. They're using the warehouse theme, which is one of the themes that we highly recommend. We're actually working on our own theme, which I'm hoping to kind of launch in the next couple months. Ivan and I just kind of finalized a few things that we want to include in it. So yeah, welcome Cadets Toys. Why don't I... How hot is it that you need AC? So I don't do Fahrenheit, but it got up to like 28 Celsius the last few days. So it's not terribly hot, but we just don't have great. We're a super humid climate here, so we need air conditioning more to just remove the humidity from the air than the actual like cooling down. Not just gaming's here. Hey Jason, how you doing? Let's jump into our little brand settings thing. Just some reminders here. Subscribe to us on YouTube, like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram. And this week's featured shop is Enchanted Grounds in Colorado. They're one of the first Shopify stores that we built with an outsourced company back when we were just kind of learning how to do Shopify. So we hired a company to do a bunch of different features for us. And it's interesting because a lot of those features that we hired those people to do that cost quite a bit of money back in the day have been added to the 2.0 theme. So the new themes are great. Madness says, what was that temperature again? I blanked on me. It was like 28. It gets up to 40 Celsius, which I think you double it and add 30 to figure out what that is in Fahrenheit. So it's like 110, 120 around there. Yeah, we have like last night we had 100% humidity, which was insane. You were just wet being outside. It's like living in Florida, living in Ontario. Quick development update. So the Managed Comics POS order helper, we're working on one final bug, which requires a fix by Shopify. So we can only send over one discount at a time, which means it's stupid. Anyway, Shopify has recognized that this is their problem. They are going to fix it, and they have said that it will be complete in the coming, and this is an exact quote, days or weeks, which I don't know about you guys, but days and weeks are two different units of measurement where I come from. And they're Canadian, so they should speak the same language as me. So yeah, we're just waiting for that fix to happen, but we have I built our test criteria for them so that they can approve it quickly. And we're also I'm just going to build out everything so that it's all ready to go as soon as approve this thing. So this what it does again is it moves orders from managed comic statuses over to the point of sale. It does not truly move draft orders over draft items. It is really moving over things that are in the managed comics order state. So if you add items to a draft order, it won't add those added items to the order. If that makes sense. What I'd recommend you do is just pop into the actual uh, thing afterwards and just remove the draft order items, and you're going to be checking, scanning things out. Good to go. And over time this will improve, I'm sure. So we're going to dedicate like resources to this to make it better over time. In progress, the offered again status, we've just got some data uploads and testing to make sure that it's working. I'll do that this like tomorrow. We should be kind of promoting its production. The how-to videos for customers, just got to figure out where we're going to put them. So we're still behind on that. And on deck will be POS order editing and also a dashboard for managed comments that we'll be working on at the same time. And of course, the backlog is reserving items. So reserving items, one of the biggest wish list needs on Shopify. So we're going to create an app that does this, and then we'll integrate those settings into Managed Comics. But let's get right into the good stuff. And again, if you guys have questions about anything, we'll save like Managed Comics questions for the end of this. But if you have questions about what we're doing here, please don't hesitate to ask, because I can pull up a Shopify store and we can walk through how all this stuff works. I did include like links to all this stuff, or I should say screen grabs to all this stuff. And there's a link at the end to the Shopify help on this because it's a little hard to find. But let's get right into it. So the brand settings are a new feature from Shopify. The idea is to make your brand consistent across multiple experiences. So this will be used by sales channels, by apps, and by themes. A lot of the 2.0 themes now will automatically pull your brand assets into your theme settings. So if you upload this stuff, if you change your theme in the future and you're using one of the 2.0 themes, you'll get all those advantages. By the way, you should be using a 2.0 theme. They are night and day better in terms of speed and reliability. So if you're still using an old 1.0 theme, if you're using something like Venture or I forget what the other one was called, you should definitely make the upgrade to a 2.0. There's a couple really kind of popular debut, Venture. I forget what their base model was called, but yeah, for sure. Just the speed changes alone will really improve your system. So in the bottom left hand corner of your Shopify, you'll see a settings button or a link. When you click on that link, it's going to take you here to your main store details information. And from there, we're going to click on brand, and that's going to get us started and get us into the kind of brand area. So before you get started, you're going to need to gather a whole bunch of things together. So we recommend you gather, well, we don't even recommend, this is just what you have to. You're going to need a logo in .heic, which is the format that your iPhone will create. .png or .jpeg, at least 512 pixels wide. If this doesn't make any sense to you, talk to somebody who does graphic design, and this will. You need a square image that's square, as in at least 512 by 512. You can go, 1,000 pixels by 1,000 pixels, whatever it is. By the way, these are all pixels, and it's usually 72 DPI is what you need for a web image. Also, size is important. So I try and keep the actual kilobyte size of these images fairly small. A logo and the square thing, they should each not ever be higher than like 100 kilobytes. A cover image of 1920 by 1080, you're going to want to keep that around like 100 to 200 kilobytes. That's a very large image to begin with for the web. Put that in perspective, 1920 by 1080 is 1080p, which is half of 2K. So 2K and 4K. 4K is like your super high end television. So a 1920 by 1080 image is very large. It's I think 2 times wider than your, typical iPhone. So yeah, that's a big image. Colors, you're gonna want primary and secondary colors, and you're gonna want these in, hexadecimal, values if you can get them. Otherwise, you're gonna have to just kind of guesstimate using the sliders that are. You'll do a slogan up to 80 words and a description up to 150 words, and you're probably not gonna want your name of your business in those, because your business name will actually be in a separate part of this, and it's usually like, for the example, Subscribotron dash, slogan, the, the place where you get subscribed to geek things. Maybe that's what I say. So you wouldn't want to say Subscribotron dash Subscribotron is your geek subscription tool. That wouldn't make sense. Um, So jumping right into the actual page, this is what it's going to look like. You're going to see, like, when you get to it, it's going to be all blank, and so you're going to see that you've got all these little things where you can click on pluses to add things. So step number one, we're going to upload our logo and our square. I just did both these at the same time, just because it was easy to pop them in. So I just clicked on the box for logo, and I uploaded my logo image and made sure the image was clicked. So you just check the little check mark next to it, and then you click done in the bottom right hand corner. Then I do the same thing for square, and I click done. And then you can review those changes. So you look at the logo and the square image, make sure they look good. You're going to see them over here on the right hand side in a preview for your kind of different applications where it would be seen. Do they look good? Are they well cropped? Is your logo getting cropped off in a circle in a weird way? If it does, then you may want to adjust things. If yes, move on. Otherwise, you're going to adjust and review it. Next, we're going to update our colors. So two options instead of TWO. You've got two options on how you want to do this. You can either use the slider with the color picker. So you kind of pick up and down from the values from red all the way to like violet, and then you can choose the tone of that in the other side. So you can actually make it more gray or less gray in the big box, or you can enter in hex colors. Um, Hex colors are like a series of letters and numbers that represent different colors, and you're only going to include the letters and numbers, and not the number sign or hashtag at the beginning. So again, we can review our color changes in the upper right hand corner. You see a real time preview of what you've done and how it looks. So in this case, I did a bright blue as my primary color, and then I did a yellow as a secondary color. And then there's an option to have a secondary color. So I used kind of a darker value of my bright blue to give myself an extra one. And then I even did like a contrasting color of white. And for the blue, I did a contrasting color of the bright yellow, so that those things kind of pop in a different way. Then you're going to set a cover image. This image has to be a minimum of 1920 by 1080. And it's going to be an HEIC, a PNG, or a JPEG. This is where you might want to use like your phone to take a nice picture of the front of your store or something, and use that for this. Yeah, so in this case, I've just got a picture of a giant here. Save that guy, and we move on to the next thing. So I can look at what that cover image is going to look like. So this is how it would look on a mobile device, kind of thing. Might be a header for an email, something like that. So just keep that in mind. And then we're going to add a slogan, just a catchy statement or tagline for your brand. Your slogan can be up to 80 words. If you put any characters, I should say, if you put any more than 80 characters in here, it's going to just like not allow you to type anymore. So it's kind of like Twitter in that respect, I guess. Um, You just click the plus thing to get the text box to open up. Step 5 is to add a description. Again, you're going to add a short description for your brand. This description is often used in bios or listings from your store. Shouldn't exceed 150 characters, and like they can't actually, if you try to, it again cuts you off. And then you click on the little plus to add your description. And finally, we can add social links. So you can go through and add all your socials. You have to use the fully qualified domain name. So that means HTTPS colon slash slash whatever the service is slash your username. Um, I imagine someday they'll make this simpler so that all you have to do is slash your username. But some things like YouTube, it isn't quite that easy. So it probably makes sense to do the fully qualified URL. And finally, we're going to save, and that is in the top right hand corner. And you will save, and it will save all your hard work so that you don't lose anything. You might want to save, as you're going through. I tend to save multiple times while I'm doing things because I've had enough power outages in my life that I don't enjoy that. So Manage Comics is going to actually start using these at some point. We're going to use the brand logo for your emails and brand cover image for email headers, perhaps. We might give that as like an option. And then we'll use your brand colors for buttons and email things and the brand short description in meta fields. The brand settings are officially unfinalized um, by Shopify. And so they've actually got a lot of warnings around for us not to like use anything right now because they're still finalizing how this is used kind of on the API side. So we'll definitely kind of keep that under advisement. So this isn't something you're going to see us change like overnight. This is something that'll be a little bit more long term. But we definitely want to incorporate these things. I just noticed that like probably 80% of all users have not updated their email logo and stuff like that. So yeah, we definitely I would rather be using the brand settings to be honest. Shopify has a ton of help on the brand settings. So make sure you pop in, and I'll drop this URL in. Sorry, that's me. I clicked back. Oh, goodness. Let me just go back to my slides. Funny. Yeah, I haven't done that before. We'll just power through these slides for a second here. Wait, this is the wrong deck. There we go. Brand settings. Anybody have any questions about the brand settings? So the official help documents are at help.shopify.com/en/manual. Blah, blah, blah. I'll drop these into chat right now. Anybody have any questions for me about the brand stuff? Is everybody still here? Did I lose anyone? All right, we'll real quick talk about next week. And by the way, if you have questions, fire them off here while I'm reading this stuff. Talk. So next week is office hours. So get your questions ready. We'll answer all your questions. If you have questions that you'd like to ask beforehand, please send them to us, and we'll make sure that they get answered next week. You got something kind of long that you'd like to ask, by all means, send it to us in an email. I know that you can only type like 200 characters or something like that in the chat. So it might be easier for you to ask us a big, long question. I'll send out an email when I send out tomorrow's email, that's going to have I've got like kind of a blog post I've been working on this brand thing. So when I send that out, I'll make sure that I solicit for questions as well. As always, we'll review our development updates and go over what's next. Don't forget to vote on features. So go to roadmap.managecomics.com and add your features. We had a couple of really great feature requests this week, just around kind of usability on the front end for customers. And there's some really great ideas that we'll definitely take a look at and see if we can do. And then, as always, review the roadmap. Go to roadmap.managecomics.com. All right, here's my pretty face back. So, man, lost 4 people. So I know that this was just a massive failure. All right, anybody have any questions? If not, I'm going to shut her down early. Color on this is like so pink. I need to adjust my coloring. Ooh, that's not better. That's worse. Oh, I think I've synchronized the two. I have. That's why. Synchronize the colors on my two lights, and I've made them both the same. Oh, that sucks. Yep. That's not what I was looking for. There we go. Someday I'll get all this stuff figured out. Just in time to stop doing live streams. All right, folks. If nobody's got any questions, if you have questions, you know where to go. Help.managecomics.com. Otherwise, I guess that's it. We'll answer all of the questions next week. In the meantime, and in between times, keep selling comics. Thanks, guys.